Good evening and welcome to the March 19th, 2014 Town Board meeting. I'll officially call the board meeting to order, and I'd ask that we please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Here.
Metzler.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Quinn.
Here. Okay, thank you. A couple of items before we get started. We have a public hearing this evening. I'm going to just ask our applicants if we can have a couple of minutes, but we do have a couple of items that I think are very important to cover. So first off, I'm going to recognize our friends from the Penfield School District. Dr. Grimm is here this evening, and the president, Carol Nasra, is here. Sue Coomer, who doesn't want to be recognized, but obviously we want to make sure that we don't forget Sue as well. And at this time, I would ask our liaison to the school district, Linda Cole, if she would make her way to the podium. I'd also ask the president and the superintendent if they would please come forward as well for a proclamation.
Good evening. As you know, this is in relation to Healthy Relationships Week. So the proclamation reads, whereas each year, 1 in 3 adolescents in the U.S. is a victim of physical, sexual, emotional, and verbal abuse from a dating partner, nearly 1.5 million high school students nationwide experience physical abuse from a dating partner. 1 in 10 high school students have been purposely hit, slapped, or physically hurt by a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and 1/4 of high school girls have been victims of physical or sexual abuse. And whereas abuse and dating violence can inflict long-lasting pain, putting survivors at risk of substance abuse, depression, poor academic performance, and experiencing further violence from a partner, and whereas abusive behavior can affect anyone, that is why everyone must learn the risk factors and warning signs, and parents and educators and community leaders must inform and empower our youth to lead safe social lives. And whereas healthy relationships are built on fairness, equality, and respect, and whereas each of us can play a role in empowering youth to lead safe social lives in our schools, homes, and neighborhoods. And whereas the town board, on behalf of the town of Penfield, declares the week of March 29th through April 4th, 2014, Healthy Relationships Week in the town of Penfield. And whereas during Healthy Relationships Week, we renew our commitment to equipping our sons and daughters for a safe social life free of abuse within a culture of respect. And whereas I call upon all Penfield residents to support effects in our community, school, and within families to empower young people to develop healthy relationships throughout their lives and to engage in activities that prevent and respond to teen abuse and dating violence. Now, therefore, be resolved that March 29th through April 4th, 2014 is Healthy Relationships Week in the town of Penfield. This week and throughout the year, let us look out for one another, stand with teens who have experienced abusive relationships, and make Penfield a community where social and relational abuse is never tolerated. This is dated March 19th, 2014, and signed by R. Anthony LaFountain, Town Supervisor. And so this is for the Superintendent of Schools and the President of the Penfield School District. Thank you for organizing this. I mean, that's clear, I think, in that you are responsible for starting the Healthy Relationships Program. And it's another great opportunity of partnering with the town of Penfield. And Sue Coomer is very active in that. Jack Best is on the committee. He's out here tonight. And, of course, Chris Bilo, our Recreation Director, is part of that, too. So thank you for all your work with this.
Right. Linda, thank you. And Carol and Steve, I would love to give you an opportunity here to plug some exciting programs that are coming up and give us a little overview. And then how can we participate as a community if we want to get involved with either one of those programs that are coming up?
Well, thank you. This is really exciting. This is the first for us to come with to come here to celebrate Healthy Relationship Weeks. I'm very excited to be here with Dr. Grimm, Sue Coomer, who really just wants to be there and not be recognized, but she really is the one who came and talked to us about this and about the results of the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. When we say it takes a village, it indeed takes a village. In our case, it takes a town, to show our students that we care about them, that, when you chose an anonymous way of telling us that you are hurt or you are being disrespected, there are adults who care about you. There's a community who cares about you. We're very excited about all the programs. We encourage everyone to come to the community dinner or to come to and listen to the speaker. We're very excited about the program that's going to happen during the day that will be for students also. Yesterday at our board meeting, we had a presentation of the video that has been developed, and watching the perspective of our students and our teachers, and watching everyone from elementary school all the way to high school talk about healthy relationship, respect for one another, caring for one another. That was really outstanding. So it's wonderful to see everything coming together and to be able to partner with you for an effort that I really think that this is the first one in Monroe County talking about relationship. Oftentimes, we see relationships in the newspaper, and we see the sad outcome of unhealthy relationships. This is a proactive movement to bring safety to our students. So thank you for your support. Dr. Grimm?
Yes.
Doctor?
Thank you once again for partnering with us, really. When you develop a partnership, it takes it takes two to tango, so to speak. And the town and the school district working together, I think other people saw that and saw it was a great thing to be a part of, and then it just kind of grew from there. And we had excellent leadership with Sue Coomer from our district to pull it together, and Chris Bilo from the town. Working together to be able to make a difference in the lives of children, which is really the enjoyment that we have in the school system, and then to be able to combine that with the efforts of the town really is a statement about the town of Penfield and the character of Penfield, and like Linda had said, the culture of Penfield. And it's an overt way to restate to everybody what we're about in Penfield, in the town, and in the school district. And to be able, one of our speakers last night, I think it was Kevin Fitzpatrick, that had talked about, our director of our Y, talked about being able to take the uncomfortable conversations and make them comfortable to talk about. And it helps open up that channel of communication between daughter and parent and kids together. And we're going to have a few activities. We have a lot of activities that week that it's hard to recall all of them. But the ones that stand out for me are our national speaker, Aaron Bowe, that's going to be talking to our children at the high school on Thursday, and then to parents at night. So it'll be a nice way where the students are kind of primed with that information. If parents can go in the evening, then they've got that channel to talk about important things about healthy relationships. And then on Friday, coming together as a community to kind of a celebration, really. At 4:30, we've got a spaghetti dinner at the high school, and we have two seatings, 4:30 and 6 p.m. We also have the dinner and a movie kind of is the 4:30 seating, and then the Bay Trail musical that's that night on Friday, April 4th. But that'll be another exciting thing to be a part of, and you can get tickets, I believe, at the school, but also online through the regular Penfield Recreation website to be able to purchase them online. And come, there's lots of activities for kids of all ages, and it's just going to be a wonderful event, a great celebration of this wonderful community. And as superintendent, I'm very proud to be a part of the partnership that we know is going to grow other things as we come together. But this one's very special because we know that it's going to make a difference for kids. It's going to make them safer and healthier for the rest of their lives. So thank you very much for recognizing this. This is just a wonderful statement. We're going to take it back with a lot of pride and share it with everybody. Thank you.
And for everyone watching, an opportunity to hear Aaron Bowe speak. That's on Thursday from 7 to 8:30 or 8:15, if I'm not mistaken. And if I want to show up as a member of the community, I can just show up.
That's right. Show
Okay.
up. It's
And
open to everybody.
be in the auditorium, if I recall correctly.
In the auditorium, yeah.
So, and then the next evening, get your tickets. So get them at the school, get them at the recreation center, because if you try to get them at the door, there's going to be limited supply at the door. So they're a very valuable ticket to be had. So hopefully we can come together and enjoy a meal together as part of the community. So
That's great. Thank you very much.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. And again, Steve and Carol, certainly for your leadership from the district standpoint. Sue, thank you for all the work that you do behind the scenes. Certainly, we've got a great relationship, and I know Chris Bilo from our recreation team interfaces with the school district on a regular basis. I'm going to embarrass him while you're here, Steve, because I can do that. Last week, actually, Chris was in Saratoga at a conference and was asked to present. And what he presented was the relationship that the town has with the school district, and presented that to a number of representatives across New York State and athletic directors as well as recreation directors. And what I understand, it was a very well presented and very well received program about the relationship, and I think that just goes to stand that the hard work that we try to do, but more importantly, what happens behind the scenes with our teams and our respective teams and the work that they do, because they really pick up the ball and carry it from there. So my hat's off both to Mr. Bilo for that effort, and certainly your team working with the school district, Pete Shambo and all of the other contacts that we have. So thank you for that, Chris, and thank you for representing Penfield so well last week at Saratoga. Great. Thank you. Have a great evening. Our second item this evening, another very important item within the community, and it's Stop Hunger Now. And at this point, I would like to recognize Jack Best and his team to please come up and talk a little bit about this program and what it means not only to this community but to many communities.
Well, Supervisor LaFountain, thanks so much for the opportunity to be on the program at the same time that you were talking about healthy relationships with the school system, because when we talk about people living and working together in our own community, our community no longer stops at the borders of Penfield. Our community truly goes through the rest of the world. And I had an opportunity a year ago or so to hear about a program that has to do with stopping hunger in the rest of the world. But as I talked about it in the Penfield community, we also realized that we try to stop hunger here in Penfield too through the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf. So what developed over the course of several months, and on that committee with me are not only George Opura, who is my fellow Rotarian, and also Mike Shivari, who was very much active in town, and many of you would know Mike. We were just so delighted to be a part of this particular program where we could talk about what we could do together with the Penfield Ecumenical Food Cupboard in order to stop hunger around the corner and then around the world too. So this particular program, and what we wanted you to see and to feel, was this bag that is made up of rice, soy, dehydrated vegetables, and some vitamin supplements. And that bag, when boiled with 1.5 quarts of water, will feed 6 people. And of those 6 people that are fed, about 70% of that number will be elementary school kids someplace in the rest of the world. And so when we talk about healthy relationships, we really talk about not only what's happening in Penfield, but what's taking place in relationships throughout the world, because we know that when kids can't eat, they do what? They fight. Many of them, instead of having food, have weapons over their shoulders. And so when we talk about kids having this opportunity to eat too, it's really great. So there are 2 things that we are going to bring you up to date on. Number 1, we're going to get involved in volunteers. We need at least 100 volunteers who will come and work with us at the CDS Hard Road Center up on Hard Road on May the 9th. And we'll have volunteer sessions 2 hours long from 12 and then at 2:30 and then at 5. And I must tell you too that working with the CDS Hard Road people too, that their program up there focuses on people with developmental disabilities. And the very first shift is going to include all of their people who are going to work together to fill these bags too. And Bill Grays is, as a matter of fact, another good community resident, together with Frontier, with Family First, and also with, I'll remember it, Bill Grays will be the 4th one, Paychecks, all part of the organizations in town that are helping us to fund this particular program. So we invite all of the community members to get involved with us. We need to raise funds. These bags, these meals, each meal costs 25 cents. So at 25 cents for 30,000 meals, which is our goal, we have to raise $7,500. So we are reaching out to the community, and we will have information available for contacts both on our Facebook site and on our website, the PenfieldRotary.org website, so that if people would like to donate or to volunteer, we will give them directions as to where they could go to. I would just like to ask George for a moment to tell why he is interested in this program, and then I'm going to ask Michael to talk about that too. George?
My name is George Opera, and I'm a native of Uganda. I was born in Uganda, and I've seen hunger firsthand, and it's a blessing basically to be out and be able to afford and be able to pay for what you desire. The food we're talking about is 25 cents is for a meal, and sometimes you wonder if that's enough food. In most places of the world, that's plenty of food. But it's a blessing to be able to give back or give forward, and that's why I'm involved. I have my children. I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, and I also have still family members that are back in different parts of the world that are not as fortunate. So to be able to give back and contribute the little we can is always a blessing. That's why I'm involved.
Thank you, George. In George's office, he works in town at Penfield at 250 and 441. Michael, just a moment, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Mike Shabari. I was introduced to this through Jack, and in getting to learn about Stop Hunger Now, I saw it as a great opportunity to show my kids, I have 3 kids, that there are a lot of less fortunate people in the world. And as I got to know more about this organization, it's such a wide-ranging, or it affects so many people in a very simple and inexpensive way. So, I just feel honored that I can be a part of it and be an example for my kids and try to get people in the community involved. I just think it's a great opportunity, so.
Good. So thank you so
Mike,
much, Tony and Linda and Amy, for your active involvement in the program, and for the board, all of you, and your support of all of the things that we do to encourage healthy relationships locally and throughout the world. Thanks so much.
Jack,
Tony?
so just to recap, if you would, give us the date again and tell us how we can contact you if we want to either volunteer or we want to donate, or both.
It'd be great. Friday, May the 9th, and our volunteer times will be at 12, at 2:30, and at 5, 2-hour shifts. That's all we look for. And then the best way that people can contact us is to go first to the PenfieldRotary.org website, then also go to this site, events.stophungernow.com.org/Penfield Community, and then go to your Facebook. And then if you go to Facebook and if you search for Stop Hunger Now Penfield Community, you will find us too, and we'll keep you up to date on what's happening.
Great, excellent. And a plug for Bill Gray's Family First Frontier Paychecks, and of course, the Rotary Club.
We are delighted that it's Penfield working together. Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, Jack. Always a pleasure. George, Mike, thank you very much. And
You're
thank you
welcome.
for the efforts.
Thank you.
All right. We can keep the brochure, though. All right. There you go. Very good. You're welcome. Thank you. Dick Horwitz, by the way, Jack, Dick Horwitz is thinking about boiling that up for his dinner later, so I'm glad you grabbed it.
He'll pay you $20 for it.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, thank you to our school district. Thank you to our Rotary representatives. You're certainly welcome to stay as long as you like, but I also recognize that everyone has very busy lives and a lot of different activities that they must get involved with. So we understand if you leave and head off to your next event. So, but again, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our regular town board agenda, and we'll start with a public hearing. And I'll ask our clerk to please read the legal notice for that public hearing.
To consider the application for incentive zoning and preliminary and final re-subdivision and site plan approval and a conditional use permit to allow a 4,300 plus or minus square foot Panera Bread restaurant at 2152 Fairport, 9 Mile Point Road.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Horwitz, is this properly before the board? Yes, it is. Okay, thank you, sir. With that, I see the applicants getting themselves together with their materials on the board, And as they're finishing up with that, I would just ask that whoever the lead is, if you would give us your name and address for the record, and introduce any others that you have with you. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. My name is Adam Fischel with Marathon Engineering, civil engineer for this project. With me tonight is also Ed Smart from Smart Designs, the project architect, as well as Brian Donovan, who is assisting the applicant, who is Vanguard Fine for the development of a Panera Bread restaurant as described in the legal notice on approximately 1.26 acres of land to be subdivided from an overall parcel that's about 3.5 acres, which is situated on the west side of 9 Mile Point Road, State Route 250, directly north of the existing Doodlebugs Plaza. Currently, there's a Jeremiah's Tavern restaurant under construction down due south of this proposed site. Access will be via a shared drive that's currently in place. It's signalized to State Route 250. We'll be providing vehicle access and delivery access via 2 driveway points that are proposed here on the rendering. Total parking spaces are 58 contained within the Panera Bread itself, plus currently, as shown here, 12 shared parking spaces, on the east side of the site. There will be a drive-through that is going to be routed along the east and then north of the proposed Panera Bread building, but it'll exit on the west side of the Panera. The delivery doors are back here near the kitchen at the northeast corner of the Panera Bread, along with a dumpster enclosure that will indeed match the finished building materials of the proposed building itself. That's the short of it.
Okay. So I'm sure the board will have a number of questions for you. I'm just going to tee up. I know that you've had an opportunity to have interface with our PRC, our Project Review Committee. Mm-hmm. And is there anything from that, those discussions that you would like to at least put on the record by way of how it might impact your plan or anything like that?
Which PR? There's 2 PRC meetings.
Okay.
Both of them, or just?
So it probably would be good to just take a minute and just highlight both of those, what has come out of that, so that we have that as part of the record.
We were given comments dated March 13th, 2014 of the first PRC meeting in regards to our plans that were actually submitted on January 27th, 2014. In advance of that submittal, we actually met with the town board via a work session that presented this site plan along with a larger overall plan that did show a future developable lot directly east of the Panera site. In the March 13th PRC comments, I didn't see really anything more than just some design and preferential comments as communicated by the PRC. I don't really necessarily see much in that would be a red flag per se. There was another PRC meeting that was held this morning at 10 o'clock. There was another representative from Marathon that attended on for me. I was in another commitment. Out of that one, the question came up about the number of employees. Currently, we anticipate 40 total full-time and part-time employees, but on any given shift, there would be a peak amount of 12 to 15 employees at any time. Hours of operation are anticipated to be 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., sometimes extending to 11 p.m. during the summer hours, correct? The question came up about, where will the deliveries occur? There, again, as I mentioned in my initial discussion, there is a access door here at the northeast corner that'll provide access directly to the kitchen for deliveries. Where will the truck park during the deliveries? Currently, we have routed, there was a plan that was submitted as part of our initial submittal that had a tractor trailer routing through the site, and we anticipated that it'll be staged out here, and the delivery person will have to then cart the goods in the back kitchen door here. Hours of operation came up, hours of deliveries came up, anticipated 2 to 3 times per week, and currently we anticipate the delivery hours to be before store opening, so before 6 a.m. The question came up also about
Sorry, was that 6 or 8? 6
Six.
6.
Okay, thank you.
Question came up about HVAC, the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning units. They are currently rooftop mounted, and the parapet wall on the roof is anticipated to screen them from all directions. Is that correct? We may have to look at the line of sight just to be on the safe side from 250, because that road is higher than the site. So we'll take a look at that. But for all intents and purposes, the parapet usually screens the HVAC units. There was a comment about the board will want to see architectural elevations for all 4 sides. There were color renderings submitted as part of the January submittal. But was there something that was left out, or something more that was?
No, no.
Okay.
No.
The bigger thing that came out of that meeting was some suggested modifications perhaps to the site layout. And it was communicated to me that maybe we could discuss those more during a workshop. But, you know, just for the record, we did visit with the town board during a workshop, and we did present this layout. And hearing no opposition, you know, in our defense, we moved forward with a design based on this. So reorientating the building or shifting the building one direction or the other would indeed be a change from where we originally started and presented to the board.
So there could be some changes. That's not a question.
Mm-hmm.
That's a statement. There could be some changes
There
as we
were-
go through and we work through this. You know, there could be some changes that as we go through, you know, to make sure that we got the best, you know, possible, you know, flow and layout. And I know at the workshop when we spoke, one of the items was making sure that there was the proper connection as we went north.
To the
with
develop
that.
it to the north. That's
Exactly,
correct.
exactly. So
Thank you for reminding me. One item that I did leave out was that we are constructing a shared access drive here on the east side of the site that will provide cross-access through portions of the Panera site and through portions of the development to the east of us to provide access to, there's another parcel that's up here north of the Panera site. It'll provide access to that parcel as well as through access to the property that's north of this entire development. Where that goes off of our property, you know, we're only constructing this little portion on the
right,
Panera site.
understand. We just need to make sure that obviously, you know, they line up and what have you. And I know that our town engineer has done, you know, some sketching, and we'll have the opportunity certainly to share that, you know, back and forth between yourself as the, you know, the engineering firm and the town itself. You referred to the property to the east, and so again, for the record, the property we're talking about for Panera Bread is what we see on this plan right here. Anything to the east is a separate and distinct discussion that is not part of the Panera project.
That is correct. We are only subdividing the 1.26 acres from the overall 3.5.
Okay.
During the concept plan preparation and discussion with the town board, we did draw up a concept layout for that eastern parcel to show that something could be built given
Right.
the 75-foot setback from the residential development to the east of us. You know, using that 75-foot setback, there would still be room for a mixed use or, you know, commercial or some sort of development building and associated parking to go along with it. And that is provided on, I did provide that to Mr. Costello via email to showing that potential build out.
The number of parking spots that you are proposing for this current layout, Adam?
58
Okay.
on the Panera Bread itself, the Panera Bread parcel. Plus, we currently have 12 shown to be shared over here. There was a question in the PRC whether or not these were actually needed to fulfill the parking requirements for Panera. But again, those are 12, and I believe it was discussed this morning that we could eliminate those because it doesn't make much sense to build 12 spaces here when we don't really know what's going to be built east of us. So we have no problem eliminating those 12.
And so if you would, because this is, certainly part of the overall, the town board in this particular case because of the incentive zoning, so hence why, before us and not the planning board. Would you talk a little bit about what you've got planned for drainage of the site, where that's going to go, the direction where it's going to flow into, and then any impact that it has on adjacent properties, if any?
Sure. There was a overall drainage plan developed for this entire development. There is a regional stormwater mitigation basin that's south of the existing Doodlebugs Plaza. That was sized to accommodate a certain level of development over the overall parcel. And we are only developing a certain portion of that overall development. And looking at this level of development, build out green space, compared to what was in that original development, we are providing more green space than what was in that initial development. So we shouldn't be adding any more runoff to the system. But if the town needs or wants further calculations on that, I can certainly provide that. But to answer all of your questions, the surface and roof runoff from this project will be collected via a series of storm inlets and storm sewers, and will connect to the main trunk line, the trunk storm sewer line that will then run, flow to that regional stormwater basin.
Thank you. Thank you. Board, questions, comments?
You mentioned green space. Did you have a chance to look at Bruce Saversky's comments about the landscaping and buffering?
We are providing, I don't have that plan in front of me, 4 or 5. It was shown on the original plan submitted. Are you referring to the far east over here?
His comment was that the quantity of evergreen trees to screen the rear home seems insufficient, and that he recommends against the use of emerald green arborvitae if a substitute is necessary for Spartan junipers. The variety does not hold up to heavy snowfalls. I don't know, but it was really commenting about insufficiency to the buffer to the neighbors.
We were asked to provide 4 to 5 evergreen trees, and that's what we did. We can certainly discuss type. I think my point to that would be, we don't know who's developing this over here. We can certainly contribute to providing some level of screening, but I don't necessarily think that the developer would want to pay for the entire screening of that berm. I think that's a topic of discussion. We were asked again to provide some level of screening, and we are. We can talk about types,
Okay.
A number within reason, but that is shown indeed on the original set of plans.
And you don't have the picture of the building itself. I've seen it. I have it here on my iPad. I can look at it. But is there 3 different colors to the building?
If we're all done talking about the site plan, I can
I'm
have
sorry.
Mr. Smart come up and discuss the building.
We probably
We can go
aren't
back
done
and
with the
forth.
site plan,
We're not
but we
done with the
can,
site
we can
plan.
certainly,
bounce
have
back
that.
and forth.
We can bounce back and forth.
Sure.
So we can, so why don't we talk about that aspect of it now? We can always
Right.
go back to the site plan.
Well, as I had you in front of me, that was a question I had. I just kind of went to another subject matter.
Hi, I'm Ed Smart. I'm the architect for the project. The building is 4,377 square feet. To answer your question regarding the materials, we do show 4 distinct materials on the exterior elevation plus storefront glazing. We have 2 types of brick. We have an EIFS, exterior insulation finish system, with a straw color, and then we also have a ceramic tile. This here is the west elevation, the primary entrance into the facility. You have to forgive me, we're trying to conserve foam core here.
Right on. We're into that.
All right.
We're into that whole sustainability and conservation, so
Great.
right up our alley.
Wonderful. You can see the next most prominent elevation really would be the south elevation, where we have brick and tile are the primary materials here, along with a steel awning, and some storefront glazing would be a bronze anodized aluminum storefront.
I'm sorry, Ed, could you just spin that one more time, or Adam, could you just spin that one more time? So that's the south end. This is the west
The west.
side right here.
Correct.
Okay. Good.
The east elevation, which really is in the what we call the operations plan, is the kitchen side of the building. The building floor plan is more than 50% back of house in order to do what Panera does that's required. But you can see on this elevation we have all of the materials, exterior materials other than the glazing is represented here in some degree.
So if you leave that right there,
Yes.
that one corner, which would be probably the northeast corner, the awning, that's the door where you'll have your deliveries come into at that point.
Correct.
Okay.
We
So it's
also
not a loading dock type of layout, it's more what I would call a passage or personal type of door that's for that use.
Yeah, it's always a man door.
Okay.
You can see at the far right of this particular elevation is the bump out for the drive-through also, which is
Right,
on the-
which is on the north side.
Right, which
Yep.
we can- And you can see the north side, we have the drive-through bump out, and a small edge of the dining room would be evident on the right-hand side of that as well.
So that northwest corner where the glass is, that's part of the dining, and it's just part of the dining experience to let light into the dining room itself?
Correct.
Okay.
Regarding the screening of rooftop equipment, the parapets of the building are 23 feet and 20 feet in different areas. And our roof line at its highest point, our top of steel, is 15.5 I believe. So once we have insulation and membrane on there, we're at about 16 feet. So we have 4 to 7 feet of parapet screening our rooftop equipment. Rooftop equipment typically varies. Once it's on a curb, it's a 4 to 5 foot in height, and we will have 4 rooftop units that will be pulled away from the edge, so that again, from a perspective point of view, they would be shielded from quite a distance, even with the elevation, I believe, of Route 250.
When you came to the work session, there was conversation that the building was going to have a different feel, that it could be made like more of a neighborhood look. It was going to be something different than the other Paneras that we have seen before. What is there that gives it a different, a difference?
There's been an evolution of the design of Paneras, where they've made a bit more of a contemporary feel, and they freshened their look. One of the primary differences is you see in the east, and also here on the west elevation. This is a steel canopy that, again, it's a different look. It's a little more linear, and the awnings, you may have seen in other Panera Breads, they have what they call their wheat logo. It's not really a trademarked logo, but you will have seen those colors. They've just freshened their colors and their appearances. And this is, I've done several Paneras throughout the country, and this is very, it's very different, and it's very new. They haven't really done many like this at this point. I think the inclusion of brick, I know there was some effort put into finding a brick that fits in with some of the brick that we will see in other areas in Penfield. The color palette that they introduce, I think, is very earthy, and it tends to just, it's not garish, it's not glaring, it just fits in with a community and a neighborhood, I think.
Okay.
Board, other questions?
You mentioned the hours of operation. Is the drive-through intended to be open at the same hours? or will it close at any time?
Yes, I believe it'll be the same time.
That leads me to my next question. We need to be sensitive to the residents who are to the east in that residential development. What measures have you taken for noise mitigation or studying noise, projecting from the drive-through speaker, possibly from your rooftop equipment? And you know, to what extent would that carry into the residential neighborhood?
You want to take that?
I'll take it. I don't know of any studies regarding the noise with the drive-through speakers. I'm not the right person to answer that question. I'm certain that Panera Operations can answer that question, and I'm certain they have considered it. I vaguely recall that they have some sort of targeted and focused speakers, but I'm not the person to speak to that directly.
Is that something that you can take back to Panera?
Yes.
And have them supply our town staff with their noise, either mitigation plan, or, you know, what efforts have they made with respect to this parcel? Because it might be, you know, not necessarily unique, but it's not, you know, on your major thoroughfare with commercial all around it.
Certainly, we can address that question to them. Regarding the rooftop equipment, it's not extremely noisy. It's not anything that would be I think even be noticeable.
Tell us where the employees plan on parking?
I would envision, we don't have it, admittedly, we don't have it clearly defined on the plan, but I would envision them parking back here where it's somewhat of a dead-end parking area and also where the dumpster is. But if that's a request of the town board, we can certainly delineate that on the plan.
Adam, what are the total number of seats? If you mentioned, I apologize. Total number of seats for the restaurant, for the record?
It's 102 interior seats, 34 seats on the patio.
And the patio is where? Is that heading towards 250?
It's located here on the frontage facing 250. It's an open-air patio with a small decorative fence in this corner here. It'll be a brick paver, a gray sort of granite color type brick paver that we are coordinating our details with the architectural team, but that'll be on the final set of plans for sure.
Are there any plans for exterior noise or music?
Not that I'm aware of.
I believe they often will introduce light music if it's something where they will certainly comply with that with whatever ordinances are in place, and they are often accustomed to stopping their music at a particular time in order to address the ordinance rather than keeping it up till closing time.
Comments at this time? No. Okay. So sit tight here for a minute. We'll open it up to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on this particular matter? And if you would, just please come up and give your name and address for the record, and then...
Are you Mike Young?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. You had them all signed up. I apologize. I got ahead of my blockers.
Mike Young, 46 Bronston Drive. I would be the neighbor to the east here. I just had a couple of questions. First, to the hours of operation. I did do some searching on the internet today. Most of the Paneras are open 6 to 9 p.m. There are a few open till 10, but they're all in like more commercial areas like Henrietta, Ridge Road, not necessarily next to a neighborhood. So I was thinking more 6 to 9 would be a better hours for me personally. The deliveries, I mean, I don't know what else you could do about it. It would have to be when you're not open, obviously, but 6 a.m. is kind of early. I would hope that it wouldn't be too noisy with a, semi-truck coming in there. The other concerns is just the mainly the buffer that is there, what you had mentioned about that there really isn't much now. I can look out my back window and see the giant mound of dirt that's there right now, and obviously that's not going to be a mound of dirt for very much longer, so I would like to see them put a lot more into that buffer. There's really nothing there right now. There's not much of a tree line left there, so especially in the wintertime when there's no leaves on the trees, I can see straight through to 250. So, and then the other comment I wanted to make is if you do make any changes to the layout of this, I would prefer to not have the drive-through pointing east toward my house. I've noticed walking my dog, like the Tim Hortons that was put in over there, when you're walking through the neighborhood over there, the cars in the drive-through, you can see the lights all the way to Braunston Drive. So I would prefer that the drive-through not be facing the house.
And I think in this particular case, as you come in, headlights would be facing west. So in this case, you would come in.
Yeah, in this case, I'm just saying if there are any changes in the
no,
future,
good-
just to
good
keep that
point,
in
Mike.
mind.
We'll make sure that we capture that. Okay, but again, for the record, currently the way it's set up is, it comes in and
Faces the
traffic
other
will be going, east to west, so from a headlight standpoint.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, and that was pretty much all I had. I just, thank
Mike,
you for
and again, I'm just, and your number again?
It's a 46 Braunston
Okay,
Drive.
46, I just wanted to capture that on my map here. Okay,
All right,
good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, thank you for coming. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address Mr. Costello? Jim Costello, our Director of Developmental Services.
Thank you, Tony. As you know, over the years, the board and the neighbors and the staff have been very concerned about losing buffer between the neighbors and this project. I've been working with neighbors over the last 5 or 6 years now to make sure that we do get buffer back for them. Mike's comments are well taken. I've been talking to Mike for several months now about this issue. And I just want to remind the board that the board did require Jeremiah's to also embellish some of the landscaping along that property line over by Mike and some of his neighbors. So they will also be contributing in the development of a better buffer. And of course, whenever anybody else comes in along that property, we'll also ask for that as well. So we will get that buffer back at some point in time here to what it was.
Okay. So before you go, Mr. Costello, my next comment was going to be, is there any additional comments from town staff on this matter that have not been put into the record that you believe should be made part of the record?
I think the only thing that we haven't talked about yet, and probably we haven't given the applicant the chance to, is the sign package for the property. We want to talk a little bit about that.
Okay,
Well,
great.
I'm sorry. Jim, before you leave, I just have one question for you. Just looking at the current site plan, even though it's subject to some changes and modifications, does this coincide with sort of any cross-access agreements or visions for this area to the north that the town or potential developments moving in there? I mean, we're not looking at something that's going to be detrimental in the future, are we?
No, and what will happen is, as any condition of approval, the applicants will be required to provide a cross-access easement to their neighbors to the north, and the neighbors to the north likewise to them when they come back for any type of an approval. They have, as a condition of purchasing the property, Farish Corporation has required all of the property owners to have cross-access and parking agreements at the time they buy the property. So, and I've got that document on record. So they're covered internally for their project now. We will work with them now to give cross-access to the neighbors to the north as a condition of approval, and then that'll happen when the neighbors to the north come in for some sort of approval from you.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Costello, has there been discussion regarding LUAMP?
Yes, they are fully aware of the requirements for LUAMP and, of course, the incentive as well.
All right, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board on this matter? Okay. To the applicants, yes. Yep. That was going to be my next, but thank you very much.
I'm getting ahead of my blockers
Yep,
now.
no, not a problem. For the applicants, I think an outstanding item here that we have not spent any time on is the sign package. So if you would highlight that for the board, what is being proposed on all sides, and including a freestanding, if any, and how that fits in. We had one of these virtual boards here at our meeting, you know, you could have all that right there, and you could
I know.
call
I
it
can
up.
hold my iPad
We
up.
wouldn't have, right? We wouldn't have all the paper and things like that. That'll be our next thing we work on.
I'll start with the building signage. We are proposing a combination of 4 signs. 2 of them would be Panera trade signs. 2 of them would be signs indicating drive-through. We did receive comments pointing out that current ordinances allow 1 building-mounted sign up to with our particular building, it would be up to 156 square feet. We are proposing a total of 170 square feet, and we are hoping to have signage on 2 sides of the building. Because of the orientation of the building and the way you would approach the building from 250 and through the access drive, I think it's important to have our primary signage facing west, facing toward Route 250. And then we are also proposing, as you come in the access drive on the south elevation, to once again have our signage there as well. So there's the Panera Bread with what they call the Mother Bread logo, and then there's a sign indicating drive-through.
That's a total of 170 square, is what I heard.
Correct.
Would you also be looking then to have Panera Bread on the directory sign?
I do have, forgive me, these aren't mounted. You had color elevations, I believe, in the package that was
That is
submitted.
correct.
You should have, I believe you have these, but I'm not 100% certain of that. You can see on the drive-through, do not enter, thank you. There is no logo information. They use a color palette that's sympathetic to what they use, but outside of that, there's nothing that identifies it as Panera. We're showing a sign just at a parking stall showing for pickup. That does have a very small little Panera logo on it. And then this is showing the construction of the awning frames. I believe that's all we have. So we have again, the drive-through information and thank you very much.
My question was,
Yes.
does Panera Bread intend to have Panera Bread on the directory sign?
Oh, okay, the menu directory set. Oh,
The plaza
Okay,
sign, so to speak.
Is it?
So when I'm driving 250, I see Doodlebugs, Jeremiah's, Panera.
if there's a
That-
directory sign, then I'm certain they want to be on it. I'm sorry, I don't have specific information, but I expect that they will want to be on that.
I believe that directory sign has already been constructed. So there are already predetermined panels, and it would be a single panel on that directory sign.
And design for, the square footage, permissible by the code for that based on the number of properties and what have you, so. Okay, that would be, I think that's one more thing to add to the list, so that we have an opportunity to see, what that is or what that might be.
For the directory sign,
For the
yes.
directory sign, okay.
And whether the logo would be on the directory, which you see sometimes.
Very good.
Board, other discussions. We talked about drainage. We talked about traffic flow, signage. Is there other items that seating, parking, other items, Adam?
One thing that I didn't bring up, nor did the board, there obviously will be future development. I'm hopeful for here in the town of Penfield. Our current utilities end right here, but one of the comments that came out of the PRC meeting was indeed to extend those up to allow for a future connection, because it makes no sense to have them here and then have that future developer come in and tear out the parking or the access road. So that certainly is amendable or agreeable to us. We'll work with the applicant and the developer to the north to work out either cost responsibilities or work.
And we spoke a little bit about the landscaping to the rear. You know, your sign, or excuse me, your plans designate a number of parking or plantings that you have through that site. Can you just kind of walk us through what you have in mind there, and what the plan is for just general landscaping around? And I'm sure our landscape architect, Mr. Zaretsky, will take a closer look at it as well. But if you wouldn't mind just going through and giving us a kind of an overview.
Absolutely. As you come in off of 250, the Panera site will be on your left, and there will be some larger deciduous shade trees and some smaller shrubs along bordering the parking that'll be there along the shared access road. This access point here will have some smaller ground cover shrubs of that sort, deciduous type. Working around here, we have a planting bed here near where the drive-through enter sign is, with some smaller ground level shrubs with some ornamental boulders that would be set in some rolled riverstone mulch. We're not proposing to use any hardwood bark mulch for this site. It's all rolled riverstone. Going through the drive-through, again, some smaller shade trees along this canoe-shaped island with some smaller boulders. And then as you work your way around where the preview menu board and the main order board and ordering canopy are, there will be some lower ground level evergreen and deciduous mixed in there as well. In addition to some taller, I believe they're junipers, but it's all detailed on the landscaping plan. Some taller evergreen shrubs to screen the drive-through customers' view of the dumpster enclosure. While the dumpsters will indeed be enclosed with a structure that's going to match the building, we're going to attempt to try to screen that with some vegetation as well. Working through the drive-through, there's going to be some lower level shrubs and taller evergreens along this area to screen, again, the drive-through customer's view back this way, and it's going to continue along the entire drive-through. Coming out of the drive-through, there's going to be a taller deciduous tree up here in the northwest corner. Currently, we show nothing proposed along the embankment that slopes up to Route 250. However, in one of the comments in the PRC, there was a recommendation to provide some sort of ground level vegetation along that slope, which we are agreeable to.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for taking us through that.
And also around the south side and the east side of the building, there will be some taller knee-high type evergreen and grasses mixed in.
Is that white line to the west a sidewalk?
It is.
That connects with the 250 sidewalk?
Yes, it is. This is the existing Route 250 sidewalk, and this one will come down. It'll connect to the existing and route down slope, and then come across here where the Panera patrons can then come into the front of the store.
Adam, square footage of the building, again, if you would?
It's 4,377 square feet.
Okay, board, other comments for the applicant? Okay. I see Mr. Costello. Mr. Costello, another opportunity at the mic.
Thank you, Tony. Just requesting you to talk a little bit about exterior lighting as it relates to neighbors to the east, but more importantly, as it relates also to the existing lighting that's proposed for Jeremiah's.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Currently, the initial submittal had a lighting design specific for the Panera Bread fixture types, and I believe the heights mimicked Jeremiah's. I don't have that plan in front of me, but I believe that's where we started from. It was all going to be dark sky compliant. To my understanding, it was within compliance with the town code. There was indeed a PRC comment that came through that was asking the Panera Bread lights to match that of the Jeremiah's. And I did communicate that to the applicant, and we are agreeable to look into that and explore the options, whether or not that'll provide adequate lighting for Panera's needs. We have yet to determine. But for the record, we are looking into that, and if we can make it work, I believe we will do so.
Do you have any sense, Adam, when you might have some additional information on that?
I think we'll submit everything as one package. You know,
Okay.
we'll take the PRC comments both from the first meeting in March as well as the meeting this morning. I'm hopeful that we can sit down at a work session, iron out some of these bigger issues, and then get some data from the architect as well as my team to rework some of the lighting, add the landscaping, work out the landscaping for the buffer on the east side, and then submit everything all at once so that you have a nice package.
Package.
That's right.
Yep, okay. All right, board, other questions or comments for the applicant? Anyone, again, in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter regarding this particular project? And then one last opportunity for the applicant for any last-minute comments or questions of the board. And then I'll talk about what our next steps are so that that you've got that as well as members of the audience have that.
No, I want to apologize for it seeming like I bounced around on the PRC comments. I wasn't well aware that the board wanted me to address every single one and get them into the record. But if I miss anything, then by all means, let me know, and I'll certainly speak to it.
Okay, so next steps, the next opportunity, once this hearing is closed this evening, the next opportunity for discussion will be next Wednesday at a work session located here in this room in the back. I don't know if you will be prepared to bring anything back to answer some of those questions at that meeting. I would ask that that you would stay in contact with Mr. Costello on that. We strike that agenda noon on Friday. So this coming Friday. So if you're not prepared for that, then the next work session after that would be April 9th. So again, I would ask Mr. Costello for you to stay in contact with Mr. Costello. And if you've got everything that the board has talked about and some of those missing pieces, and you're able to come in for the 26th, we can have that conversation, and if not, then we can look at the 9th of April.
And a point of clarification, do we have to have our response to the comments by this Friday, or simply just telling Mr. Costello that we'll be on the...
Right, that you'll have them ready to go for Wednesday.
Okay.
Ideally, the board would like to have those ahead of time if possible. Certainly, if we have that ahead of time, the board has the opportunity to take a look at it and then formulate any additional questions that they may have versus getting the material and saying, okay, let us digest this and take a look at, the next work session after that. So
Might I ask if anybody's going to be absent from the work session next week?
I will be
You will
absent
be,
from the
okay.
work session, yes. So seeing no further comments either from the applicant, the audience, or the board, I'll declare this public hearing closed. And again, the next earliest opportunity for discussion would be next Wednesday. Again, the agenda is struck by noon and is online and available after that. So if any of the residents want to get online to see if it's on the agenda, they can do so. And if it's not, then it'll be picked up on the April 9th agenda for the work session. Okay, thank you to the applicants. Thank you for those that spoke on behalf of this, and certainly for staff as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on with the agenda, and we'll move into our communications and announcements. There are two opportunities to address the board at this time, and again at towards the end of the meeting. You can do that also by calling in at 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. And with that, so I'm preparing you for the addressing the board and public participation for that. So starting with our communications and announcements, I'll start with our clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The new Department of Environmental Conservation software system is up and running in the town clerk's office. Our annual fishing licenses are now valid for 1 full year from the date of purchase. If you purchased a fishing license between October 1st, 2013 and January 31st, 2014, your license will remain valid through September 30th, 2014. For residency qualifications and fee schedules, please contact me at 340-8629 or check out the DEC website at www.dec.ny.gov/permits. Also, a reminder from the tax receiver, third installments are due by Monday, March 31st. If paying by mail, be sure to have a U.S. postmarked envelope. If paying in person, the Town Hall Tax Department is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. As always, if you come by after 5 p.m., feel free to use the payment box at the east entrance, and a receipt will be mailed to you the next day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. One quick reminder, the annual VFW Post 2014 Memorial Day Essay Contest is underway. Applications are now available at penfieldrec.org and in person at the Recreation Department in the Community Center. The contest deadline is April 25th. Thank you.
I just have one announcement tonight from our Penfield Heritage Association. Their next Sunday program will be March 23rd in the Penfield Library Bremen Room from 2:30 p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Our town historian, Kathy Knauer, will discuss an area located in the northeast quadrant of Penfield known as Roseland. In the early years of our great community, Roseland was a hamlet settled by German immigrants. Kathy will also highlight photographer Arthur Frost, who was born and raised in Roseland. This program is free and open to the public. To register, please visit online at penfieldlibrary.org. That's all I have today.
If you did not have an opportunity to be at the earlier part of the meeting, we had the school district in talking about Healthy Relationships Week that's coming up. And so it's just a reminder that on the 3rd of April, that's Thursday the 3rd, from 7 p.m. to 8:15 p.m., Aaron Bowe will be speaking on equipping your son and daughter for a safe social life. That's open to all members of the public and would encourage you to attend that particular event. Also, the following evening, there will be a social event, a pasta dinner at the Penfield High School, 2 seatings, 4:30 and 6 p.m., and I would encourage you to get your tickets ahead of time. You can do that online at penfield.org. For more details on Healthy Relationships Week, please log on at penfield.edu. Mr. Moore?
Thank you. Mark your calendars for Penfield Cleanup Day on Saturday, May 3rd. Families, groups, individuals, and teams are welcome to help pick up debris and beautify Penfield. This is a great community service project or a fun way to help out the community with your family. This year we'll also have a pancake breakfast before heading out to clean up. To register your group or for more information, please call Sabrina Renner at 340-8651 or email srenner@penfield.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Cole?
Yes, the Penfield Trails Committee will sponsor a free public hike at the Channing H. Philbrick Park on Saturday, April 12th at 10 a.m. Follow the hike signs. The hike will start at the kiosk near the Washington Street Bridge. Come prepared for spring weather. Sturdy, waterproof footwear is recommended. Parts of the trail could be slippery. The hike is expected to last about 2 hours and will be led by members of the Penfield Trails Committee. Participants should register by calling the Penfield Recreation Office at 340-8655, option 6. And my other announcement is that my next community chat will be on Tuesday, April 15th in the new book area at the Penfield Library. If you'd like to come over and talk about any issues or subjects about Penfield, I will be there. I'd like to talk to you. Thank you.
Mr. Horowitz?
Nothing further tonight.
Okay, very good. 2 last items before we get into public participation, and I think we have some additional information that will come up on the screen. The first is that down at Channing Philbrick Park, we had an old Quonset hut that was down in that particular park. Created a lot of problems just based on age, the rust, and the unsafe conditions of that. We did have that removed. That was both at the recommendation of our insurance company and also the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, because that opens up that park, 1, for additional parking, and 2, to help with hiding any activity that may not be necessarily always appropriate down at that location. So that will be cleared up, and that will provide more space down at Channing Philbrick Park. The second item, and one that Deputy Supervisor Paula Metzler will officially kick off tomorrow evening, and that is we have added solar panels to the roof of Harris Whalen Park. And the idea of that is that that will help offset about 70% of the cost of that particular facility. This was made possible through a grant through NYSERDA, and we had our town crew install. So we've got some cost for labor in this, but overall it will continue to pay back. The second benefit of this is that because of Harris Hill School being so close, we want to use that as part of their technology curriculum that they have, so that we can highlight some of the different things that can be achieved with this solar project by way of what we capture, what we utilize, what we push back to the grid, what we pull off the grid that will help overall from a technology standpoint. And Councilwoman and Deputy Supervisor Paula Metzler will kick that off for Green Drinks, which is a sustainability group that meets on a monthly basis, and she will do that official ribbon cutting of that for our community. So we look forward to that tomorrow evening. Okay, we'll continue on with our agenda, public participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board? And I see my county legislator, Debbie Draw, representing Penfield 9th District.
Yes.
Welcome, as always.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and members of the town board. Well, you've had a really packed night already before you even get into fully into your agenda. So I want to it's kind of good that I came tonight, because one of my things that I'm going to talk about is the youth, and I was really pleased that I was here tonight and when they were able to recognize your great partnership with the town of Penfield, with the Penfield School District. So I think that Healthy Relationships Week is going to be a wonderful thing for our town, and I'm going to try to stop in and see that presentation up at the high school. So, and I'm also was pleased when they said that they were probably the first town in Monroe County to do that. So again, when I go back to my my fellow colleagues in the legislature, I always am telling them how great we are in Penfield, and to be with the first of this, I think is a tribute to you guys and all that you do here. So I have two reasons I'm here tonight. One is to talk to you about something for our youth. It's one of my favorite things to do as a legislator is being able to pay tribute to our to the youth in my community. So it's the time of year again where I come to you and I tell you that the Monroe County Youth Bureau and the Monroe County Legislature gets to honor exceptional youth and adult youth advocates for their contributions in our communities. So every legislator goes out to their town and hopefully tries to encourage people to recognize, to get nominations to recognize the youth in our community. So on behalf, I'm also here on behalf tonight of Dan Quattro, our legislator, my legislator counterpart to in Webster and parts of Penfield in the 15th. So we're inviting you, the members of the town board, anyone in the community, to nominate youth who have, who you interact with and who you feel reflect the qualities that are outlined in the nomination form. They range, and it can be anything in their community, their religious, academic, or sports achievements. So I'm going to leave some applications here. I have some forms tonight. I'll leave them with our town clerk, Amy. And then you can also, I don't know if they're going to be able to get on the screen. I did leave it with them downstairs. Monroe County, you can go to monroecounty.gov, and the youth, and the link comes up that you can, I don't know, I
It's
guess.
on the screen as
It
we
is on the screen.
It's on the
Oh,
screen
great.
as we speak.
Great, okay, wonderful. So you can access applications on that way. All nominations are due by April 14th, and then we choose from around the county and the city, and there's on June 5th at Monroe Community Hospital, we have a lovely evening where I think members, Amy Steckloff, our town clerk, her daughter was recognized, I believe, a couple years ago. So it's a wonderful evening, and I'm especially proud of all the youth that we recognize in Penfield and Webster, and I'm always so blessed to know that there's so many of our children are doing wonderful things in our community. So, and then my second reason I'm here tonight is I wanted to just ask you a question, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board. I wanted to know, I remember a while ago we had put on hold some Baird Road. There was some construction going to go on Baird Road, and also, since I live in the Four Corners, I'm always being asked about the Mott's Lane project. I don't know where we stand on those, and I guess that was my question tonight for you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. First with Baird Road, as I think a lot of residents that live there and travel that road, for the last 2 years, we've had work that's being done there. It's one of the few town roads that has not had any attention since its original construction back in the 50s. And so we have placed drainage throughout that area to help the under drain of that road. We completed that last fall. The next phase of that will start in and around the 5th of May. We have a milling machine that'll come in and grind everything just south of Atlantic Avenue, all the way to just north of Whalen Road. That'll be all recycled material. And then we'll repave that stretch of road, and that stretch of road should then be good for the next 70 years, or at least for many years to come. So that we're looking to have that completed by on or around Memorial Day. Okay. And then on Mott's Lane, I'm happy to report after a lot of negotiation, we were able to get the last strip of land that we needed to satisfy the New York State DOT. That was a piece of land that we had to have in our ownership. Through a lot of work by Mr. Costello, Mr. Benway, we were able to attain that. And I also want to recognize the Penfield Business Association because they were supportive of helping to get that as well. We thought we were moving along very, very well, and we ran into a little roadblock here about a week and a half ago. We found that our funding was no longer available, which then put us into a little bit of a high gear. And working very closely with the Genesee Transportation Council, which I happen to be a member of as the president of the Supervisors Association this year, we were able to get it added on to the agenda last Wednesday. Thanks to Rich Perrin, who's the executive director, and thanks to a very good friend, Jeffrey R. Adair, who moved that funding be restored. We were able to get that funding restored. So now Mott's Lane will pick up sometime after Memorial Day with town crews, and we'll complete that link up. However, sometime in late April, you will see CP Ward out at that site. Okay. And CP Ward will be making the connection to 441. So that's that right in, right out connection. They've got the equipment and all of the traffic control devices to work in a busy 4-lane highway like 441. And rather than having our individual employees and our equipment at risk, CP Ward will make that initial connection. Then we'll pick up from there starting in June and complete that back around the Humphrey House. And then ultimately we'll connect, as it does today, out to 5 Mile Line Road. So a lot of great efforts. Yeah. Know it's a long time coming. Mr. Costello and I and the board get asked on a regular basis, but it looks like we will have that finally completed by hopefully on or around 4th of July of this year.
That'd be wonderful. Wow, and a turning lane and Mott's Lane finished. It's just wonderful.
Everything will
going
be,
on up
everything, there. Yes, finally coming together after many, many years in the Four Corners. So.
I'm happy. I live there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you as always.
I'll just leave this with you.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board again on any matter? Okay, and seeing none and seeing no call-ins, we'll move on to additions and deletions to the agenda. Board, any additions or deletions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes of February 19th, 2014. I would entertain a motion of approval for those minutes.
I move that the February 19th minutes be approved.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler. Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you. Petitions. Has the board, town clerk, or town attorney received any petitions since the last time we've gotten together? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions by function. We'll start with law and finance, please.
Authorization for the release of an access easement at 2226 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the owner of the property at 2226 Penfield Road has requested that the town of Penfield release a portion of a 26-foot wide access easement. Whereas the owner of said property has already granted the town of Penfield a revised access agreement in front of the property that is fully useful to the town of Penfield to replace the portion of easement to be released. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes a supervisor to sign a release of easement with H&T Development LLC, owner of the property at 2226 Penfield Road, to permit the release of a portion of an existing access easement as shown on map Exhibit B entitled Access Easement Abandonment. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion by the board? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to maintain properties and assess the charges to the 2015 property tax bills.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas on October 2nd, 1996, the town board of the town of Penfield adopted Article 4-4-28 of the Penfield zoning ordinance entitled Property Maintenance. Whereas the purpose of Article 4-4-28 of the zoning ordinance is to prevent the gradual encroachment of blight, deterioration, unsightliness, and property devaluation, and to assure all premise within the town of Penfield are maintained in a manner that will assure safety, welfare, and health of the general public. Whereas the property owner at 456 Mance Lane has failed to maintain the exterior areas and secure the vacant residence at the subject property, which continues to be a concern for health, safety, and welfare of the surrounding neighbors. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorize the fire marshal and building, zoning, and code compliance supervisor to have the property properly and appropriately maintained. Be it further resolved that the town board further authorizes the cost of said maintenance and any necessary maintenance during the 2014 season to be charged to the 2015 property tax bill for this property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Rejecting bids for Department of Public Works compact track loader.
Second.
Sealed proposals were sought and requested in the manner prescribed by law to furnish the Department of Public Works with one compact track loader. On Thursday, February 27th at 11 a.m., all sealed bids were received and opened and read publicly by the town clerk. None of the received and open bids met the required bidding criteria, and therefore the town board reserves the right to reject all bids. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby rejects all bids received for the compact track loader.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Advertising for bids for Department of Public Works compact track loader.
Moved.
Second.
The Director of Public Works is hereby authorized to advertise in the manner prescribed by law for sealed proposals to furnish the Town of Penfield Department of Public Works with the following: one compact track loader compatible with the Department of Public Works' current Bobcat accessories and controls. Be it further resolved that the compact track loader covered by such proposals shall be in accordance with specifications prepared by the Director of Public Works. Sealed proposals are to be received in the office of the town clerk until April 10th at 11 a.m. local time, and then and there are to be opened by the town clerk.
Thank you. Discussion. Okay, seeing no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This authorizes the town supervisor to sign 4 recreation contracts dealing with activities that take place in our different recreation programs, 2 of which are involving the Penfield Players Spring Production. It's going to take place in May, and the kind of the kickoff to their 50th anniversary season.
Discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, is there any new business to come before the board this evening? Again, seeing none, our second opportunity for public participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, seeing none and having no calls come in, I'll declare this meeting of March 19th, 2014 adjourned. And I'll thank PCTV and the team downstairs. Thank you.